everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Herbert Employer of the Day. We have UT Extension with us. My name is Alexis Andershock, and I serve as the career coach for Ag and Environmental Sciences students. We're joined today by Lee and Jessica with UT Extension. So we'll give them an opportunity to first introduce themselves and talk about their role. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Lee.
Thanks, Alexis. So welcome, everybody. My name's Lee Rumble. Of course, I work for the University of Tennessee Extension Office. I am an extension agent in Ag and Natural Resources, and I'm also an ISA certified arborist. So that's kind of that tree care professional. Now, my role with UT Extension is that commercial horticulture disciplines. So I help commercial landscapers, arborists, professional growers, whether it's fruits and vegetables or nursery production. I'll ultimately help them to grow a better crop. Now, naturally, I do work with some residential issues as well, particularly those related to tree cares, concerns. And, my day-to-day is very different. Being in Ag and Natural Resources, I have a lot of variance. One day I may be looking at images sent to me by a homeowner asking if these are murder hornets or some other particular pest. The next day, I may be out on a site visit talking with a professional grower that has hundreds of acres of fruit trees. Now, that said, we also are educators, so I help to teach master gardener classes. I do a lot of video shoots, and I may be writing newsletters one day. So it's a very, very varying position, but I certainly do enjoy what I do.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you with us today, Lee. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about your role, Jessica?
Absolutely. Thanks, Alexis. My name is Jessica Gardner. I am also an extension agent with the University of Tennessee. My role is quite a bit different than Lee's, though. I'm also a county agent, so I'm in the county educating, building relationships with community partners. But my areas of expertise are family and consumer sciences and 4-H youth development. So family and consumer sciences, pretty much the study of life, how families interact within themselves in the community. So I do a lot of human development type stuff. So those co-parenting classes, family finances. So I teach lots of classes about that, basic budgeting, food and nutrition, and food safety is another area of expertise of mine, which is probably my favorite. So we do a lot of healthy eating courses and home food preservation. That's been a huge one this year. Everybody wants to learn how to can food. And then finally, community health, which is also a huge focus. So managing chronic conditions, diabetes, stuff like that. And then 4-H youth development, we are in most of our county schools teaching those STEM lessons. So we just come alongside those teachers to provide them, extra activities in the classroom to benefit their students. And we teach towards those standards. And we also have a lot of, after school clubs like horse clubs, special interest clubs, nutrition, honor club, things like that. So we're plugged into our local community, and we offer pretty much something for everybody.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you with us today, Jessica. Our next question, I'll have Lee answer this one. So can you tell us a little bit about UT Extension, what the company or your organization does and where the primary locations are?
Yeah, absolutely. So UT Extension has quite a rich history. There's a wonderful link online that you can find that kind of runs through the entire overview. But, really Extension dates back to the early 1900s. In fact, 1914, when the Smith-Lever Act was established to ultimately create the the Extension Service. Originally, it started as a component of the USDA, but a lot has changed since then, right? Just like our farming practices have as well. But the one constant that's remained the same through that is the fact that we ultimately help to build people up. And we do this through education and through outreach. In essence, if you've seen our slogan, we do provide real life solutions. And, what that truly means is that, people like agents, Jessica and I, we're ultimately kind of that gateway between the research that happens at the university level and the clients that we actually communicate with in the field. And you may say, well, what is a client? A client is really anyone in the state of Tennessee. We cover 4 very broad program areas, and that's Ag and Natural Resources, Family and Consumer Sciences, 4-H, and Community Economic Development. Our agents can be found across all 95 counties in the state of Tennessee.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that lead and explaining UT Extension for us. So next we'll have Jessica talk to us about the company culture of UT Extension and why she likes working for UT Extension.
So I'm actually going to start with why I chose and love working with UT Extension because I think that leads into the culture. So I love educating, I love teaching, but I don't like same classroom every day. I feel confined. But UT Extension is, like Lee said, we take all that research, all that information and bring it to the community. So every day is different. And that's why I love it so much. It's always an adventure. So our company culture, it's very innovative. It's a super positive place to work. We're like a great big family, but it's innovative. We're creative. We're always trying to reach people in new ways. We're taking the latest stuff and bringing it right to the community. And we're also very professional in the things we do. We build those relationships, but we keep it very formative, very informational. So we're really impacting those lives of the people in our community.
Awesome. Thank you. And Lee, did you want to add why you like working at UT Extension? Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, and
you're fine.
Jessica, that was a great word, innovative. I love that. I was going to say, I like, of course, UT Extension because number one, it's inclusive. No one is not represented in UT Extension. We're very cooperative. We work alongside others. I'm very proud to say that I work with hundreds of other professional agents and specialists that ultimately work every day to make Tennessee a better place to live, work, and even raise a family. One thing in particular I like is, it's not a typical 8 to 5 in the office type of job. Like I mentioned previously, I may be out on site visits 2 or 3 days a week. So I'm not just confined to an office. We have great benefits, of course. We have really a lot of time off that is given. Now, many of us have a hard time stepping away from the job sometimes because we do take such ownership of it, but that's on our own accord, And certainly Extension also provides us, with all the tools that we need to do our job. As we've transitioned into a virtual world here recently, there's nothing that has been lacking. And I'm not just talking the physical things, computers, cameras, microphones to do video shoots. I'm also talking the in-services and the trainings and the help that comes from those specialists in our field as well.
Thank you. UT Extension sounds like a great place to work. So our next question, we will have Lee start with this one, but what do you expect from students during virtual recruiting events?
So I would first and foremost, just kind of really, basic stuff, just common courtesy and an attentive ear. A lot of these events, I know they may seem laborious or time consuming, but it's much like education, you get out what you put in. So I encourage you to pay attention, pick up little tidbits along the way and use those. In addition to that, we're service providers. So if you ever have a question, Jessica and I are easily found online, and you can always follow up with extra questions. If there's something that you're just not wanting to ask in person, you can always reach out to us later.
Awesome. And Jessica, do you have anything to add to that on what you expect from students at these types of events?
Yeah, I'll definitely add, don't be afraid to ask questions and get familiar with the organization. It's kind of a bad joke, but we say Extension is the best kept secret. And so it's not unusual for someone to not be familiar with Extension. Yeah, I know Lee and I are working to, get our communities more familiar with the things we do, but it's okay to ask questions, to understand the organization, because there is so much to offer and there's different layers. That again, there's something for everybody. So don't be afraid to, ask the questions, even if you think it should be known, and do your research. There's tons of stuff online. Our whole website just got revamped. You can find most of the information on there as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Our next question is for Lee. What kind of job and internship opportunities do you all currently have open, and how would our students go about applying for those?
Yeah, Alexis. So, I was on this morning looking at open positions, and do you want me to share my screen, Alexis, or should we omit that part?
You can share your screen.
Okay, so I'll quickly just share a screen, and basically what you'll want to do is go to this extension.tennessee.edu/employment page, or you could, simply search bar that extension employment opportunities as well. And this gives a number of actual jobs, opportunities, or internships that are available. At current, we have about 6 different internships that are spread across multiple of those program areas. A&R, we have some, CED, there's another ag and resource economics, but really it kind of depends on what you like, as well as the location, which is also identified here. Our agent positions are certainly a very engaging job. They're wonderful, and a lot of our internships can in fact turn into employment later in life. Now, the specialist positions that you see here, these are generally going to be the PhD level specialist, and they're the ones that help support both Jessica and I. And with regards to what's on the outlook, UT Extension, again, I've mentioned we're in all 95 counties, but we're really working to build up our agent presence in each county. We're hoping to go to a minimum of 3 agents for every county in the state. And that, of course, in turn will mean multiple new positions well into the future.
Awesome. That's great information to know. So we'll start with Jessica on this next question. What kinds of experiences make candidates a good fit for UT Extension?
So I think candidates that are well-rounded, that have a lot of different experiences, are a great fit, because like Lee and I have both said, so much of our job is different day to day. So it's really good if you have multiple experiences. And when I got hired on, my county director, she said, you can't coach character, but you can coach skills, and you can coach the other things. So really being coachable, because there are new and innovative things, especially through the pandemic. We've all had to, learn new technology and be presented online in different ways. So just being coachable and willing to learn and able to learn are huge benefits that make great candidates for these positions, because you really do have to be flexible every day. You never know what you're going to get thrown. So flexibility is another huge one.
Awesome. And how would our students go about communicating that on a resume? So what do you all expect for a resume? How do they make their resume stand out?
Yeah, so I think highlighting those important skills that would be relevant to the job, any relevant job experience. Definitely those 2 things are the things that we look at specifically are, education, experience, those skills that are used in day-to-day basis.
Awesome. And Lee, do you have anything to add to any of those questions about how to communicate it on a resume and what you all are expecting for a good candidate?
Yeah, Alexis. So to stand out, I would say, if you're early in your schooling career, I really would encourage you to go out and do those public presentations, at local conferences. I was very fortunate to attend a lot of different conferences that were in my field. And I think that shows on a resume. Grant funding can be a really wonderful, it shows that you have a desire to continue on to look for external funding as well. Volunteering can look really good on a resume. And like Jessica's already mentioned, those extracurricular activities that really help to build you as an entire individual. Being a people person is very important in Extension. We network a lot, and a lot of times it may even feel like cold calling, even though it's not really cold calling. But when you enter a new county, you're dealing with people that may have lived there for 30 or 40 years. So how do you build that respect early in life? Be willing to educate others, but also be very willing to learn more as you go along. And I think, organizational skills are really important. We have a lot of moving parts in our day-to-day. So being able to manage that is going to be really, really desirable.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll just go ahead and start with Lee on this next question. What advice do you have for students who are starting to search for jobs and internships?
Yeah, so that's great, and this is something I personally did. So this will be coming from experience. First and foremost, look into the history of Extension. It's a very rich history. We really are a network of family members, more or less. There's multiple ways that I can expand on that, but I really encourage you to look up the history of Extension to better understand what we all do as a collective group. The second thing, whatever county you plan to go to, it's very important that you know a lot about that county before you even get there for the interview process. How many farms are there? What's the type of farmer? Is it an area that's losing farmland to urbanization, such as a large county in Knox here? Are the farms changing? Was it once dairy farms? Well, now it's cut flower farms. Figure those answers out. Find out what the real issues are in the county, because Jessica and I, at our core, we meet the needs of the county. And that doesn't matter what the need is, that's what we are here for. It may be opioid use or youth development, or maybe establishing healthy diets or helping a farmer grow something better. But ultimately, through all that process, I think that will help you not only build a good resume, but I encourage you to really focus on that cover letter. Show how you're going to bring some asset to that county. Not so much on what you've done in the past, but how can you benefit the county that you're looking for. So do your homework and just, go from there.
That's great advice, Lee. What advice do you have for students who are starting that search, Jessica?
I think Lee really nailed it with do your research ahead of time and be prepared going in. One thing I will add, piggybacking off of the cover letter, update those with each job. So if you have the same one, that's fine, but make sure you change the wording, make sure it's not somebody else's business name that you're submitting to apply for a job somewhere else. Really take time to be detail oriented in that aspect, just because it shows that you put in that extra effort and you aren't very lackadaisical. Secondly, don't be afraid to try something new. That's how I got my start in Extension, was at my university, my advisor was like, hey, you need to do this. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I stepped outside of my comfort zone. I tried something new, and I absolutely fell in love with Extension and the career that it has gotten me today. So definitely step outside of your comfort zone, especially in the internship phase. That is your chance to try something new. And it's not a decision that has to last a lifetime. So definitely use that as a way to experience new experiences.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Does anyone who's joined us live have any questions that they have? Or Lee or Jessica, is there anything else that you feel like you need to add that we didn't cover today?
I don't know that I have anything to add, Alexis, other than, my contact information. If we need to give that, I'll be happy to share that with you, Alexis, if we need to put it in the chat box. Reach out to us. As county agents, it's kind of unique. I found my way to Extension through another county agent. I went and visited the county agent in Davidson County, which was where I was originally from, and county agent said, well, come on, let's get in the truck and go drive around and look at some issues in the landscape. And I thought, wow, you can leave the office and, go out into the field. So, I encourage you to reach out to a county that you may be interested in going in and just say, hey, can I shadow you for, 2 or 3 hours? Now, that's a little tricky with COVID right now, and you may get turned down, but, we're pretty willing to go any route that we need to. We're very flexible. So.
Yeah, we can certainly share your contact information in descriptions and link to the website as well that has the contact directory for UT Extension.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today and serving as the Herbert Employer of the Day. We've loved learning about UT Extension, what it's like to work there, and all the great opportunities that it has to offer and how we should go about pursuing those. And so we really appreciate your partnership.